Alrighty, I am back again for a third. So, it was funny, I was just talking to a friend, Angry Catfish Briggs. We were discussing some of the other videos I put out and that how we don't really see much of those wide discharges like that anymore due to the compression around the Earth right now and our limited view of what we can see. And then today, we get that. Something we haven't seen since last winter. Because I just, basically looked up and recorded when the day Ra arrived and Ra's staff. Those were large. Some part of it was a CME from the backside and from Ra, aka Blue Kachina. We also have the red Kachina here, aka Horus, which is out out behind the sun, which provides us our beautiful red, pink, and purple sunrises and sunsets every day. That it can't be iron oxide because it happens worldwide. You can look at pictures everywhere, and everyone's having those types of sunsets. So a yellow sun cannot make anything that has to do with red colors. It's just impossible. If you look up primary colors, yellow, blue, and red, you don't get a yellow sun cannot make red, and it cannot make pink or purple, but red and blue can. And we've all heard about the red and blue Kachinas. Well, now you know why those sunsets are like that. So, back to the event. But anyways, let's start from the quick usuals. Blue IMF means not connected in Earth in any way. Interplanetary magnetic field lines. Polar cap is coming from Earth. Closed field lines are field lines that are closed in the sense of they're connected together. They're not left open and reaching out. And the only reason why they're here, especially out back this way, is because this electromagnet called Earth is pushing against other magnets. It's the only reason why they do that. They're in the front because there is a magnetic field here called the bow shock or magnetopause. They're in the back because they're in the field, surrounded in a field. Let me see if I can find a quick... this is an example here. Is a fairly normal, but obviously the rest of this is not. Anyways, progressing forward, this is the mom's pushing back, pushing against other magnets. That energy is then repulsing back as well, pushing back towards Earth. We have IMF lines crossing over across here, when all the others are back here or only up front. This line signifies our connection to the sun, which there are two here right now, but it should just be one. It should be straight up and down, and that signifies our connection to the sun. And there should be 9 other lines going straight up and down, signifying our connection to the other planets. Since we are all interconnected to the sun, because the sun is the major player and provides life and energy and everything we are grateful for. Now without it, we don't have life and we don't have a shield. So our planet would burn up very quickly if the sun went dark and produced no energy to protect us anymore. Our magnetosphere and bow shock would go away. And then all the radiation out there would be let directly into Earth, and therefore everything would burn up. Now, so now you have that little history there. This is exciting what happens here, because like I said, we don't normally see big discharges like this wide because of the compression. But This is a neat little point. Right here, we have a polar cap line coming back here and connecting into a planetary body. We have closed field lines showing us as well. The polar cap lines go around it, and fields always react to other fields. Here we go. This is as this progresses. We got polar cap, we got blue IMF. This is a blue IMF standalone signal. It's not connected to Earth. Closed field lines are showing it as well, wrapping around it. Blue IMF coming on around. We have polar cap lines circling all the way around us and coming back up over top the north, coming from over here. Same on the front side. It's because there is a planet, there is a body, a magnetic body up here. Why else would it circle around and then connect up over top of us? You got to realize there's also one here. And you'll see more. Everyone is talking about things out by the sun. Well, the sun's 93 million miles back that way to the right. Well, this is right in here. This is, for example, at negative 40, we're looking at around 175,000 miles behind us. Not 93 million miles. We have several ways to say that it's here. Closed field lines reacting. Blue IMF is unique. And even polar cap lines coming back around against the wind stream and wrapping around and feeding it. This polar cap line is feeding the energy to provide the unique signature. Excuse me. Again, Earth is pushing back, but also feeding this signature. Here's a totally different, separate body right here. And that is 2 to 3 bodies already that I've shown you. We're going to keep going forward. You can see the push. We generally have several indicators showing locations. And I'll show you those. Why would these polar cap lines be headed north unless they're reacting to a magnetic field? Well, to have a field, you've got to have energy, and then, the matter dictates the signature at the periodic table level, the elements. Every magnetic signature is unique based on that. All right, so here we've got pressure differences. Closed field lines that are basically coming from the backside. Though what they're doing is they're coming from Earth and wrapping around and showing this other magnetic signature, but it's connected to Earth at this point, even though it's a standalone object, and you'll see it. Well, I mean, again, polar cap lines, backfeeding power, discharging all the power off the front, because all this energy is coming from the bow shock. Right here, you can see it going in between into Earth, and it does it on both sides. And the energy does not actually go in at the poles, it comes in at the equator. If you've seen anyone who's seen a ferrocell, you will see how all magnets work, and Earth is an electron magnet. Whether it is static or working, depends on what it's doing. Well, this magnet is no longer static, it is now working, because it is drawing energy into Earth like a capacitor and is discharging it out the back. And that's what these closed field lines, the red lines, are. Earth is pushing back these other magnets. It's all just basically a magnetic chain. You've seen the primer fields, or scientifically, you have seen examples of this magnetic chains with using steel balls and magnets, where they'll rotate and orbit, which is the exact same thing as like a Hallback array is the exact same thing that keeps us where we are in the solar system. It's all magnetics. Progressing forward. Push, push, push. Back feeding, back feeding. Gonna continue on because it's just too interesting and I've got a limited amount of time. Again, this formed out here. Earth connected in as was pushing against it, then provided it, and now it has its own signature. Unique it to the elemental level. Now this is another first for me. I've never seen IMF standalone signature connect into our bow shock from the sun side. Usually they don't make it this far in. And I know you've seen little crinkles here as we've gone along, but I've never seen them actually tie in to these other IMF lines. So that's unique as well. I'm going to continue on. You can see all these IMF lines out here. Here's a good example. That means that's another body. All right. Bodies here. There's another planet here. All these tell us there's a planet here. Why else would these be curling up? Unless there's something there. All right. We used to only have 1 or 2 indicators, but now we have 3 to 4 indicators now showing us that that's here. And this was the main event. This push, the power was drawn from Earth. You can see it. And I'm going to end up doing another video showing the solar wind tool, the same thing, but there's just not enough time. It's just too exciting. It's basically explodes out, becomes a standalone signature not connected to Earth. Polar cap lines are indicating, and some density differences indicates probably there's a body here, and some in here. But we know there's definitely something here because this pole line is circling around it. This signature is so large that it has field lines in between. You've seen that in my other videos of the day Ra arrived, or the Ra staff that I just recently produced. You'll see these same things on these large signatures. And again, Mom is pushing back. Standalone signature, and this is called blue, or the blue, what I also call the blue elephant. The elephant in the room that nobody talks about, everyone ignores. But hey, and the interesting thing is Mom Earth actually is backfeeding into that signature, and it's staying connected. I haven't seen it connected this long, so this event has shown me a lot of new events. And you'll see that this actually changes over to from polar cap to both polar cap and IMF. Standalone signature, and there's the beginning of it. This is suggesting something with some pressure in here. The blue IMF connecting in, the closed field line circling around. I mean, come on, this is no brainer, guys. Watch scientifically, you'll learn this stuff. It all tied in. I've been looking at this for a year, but I started watching him, and now I can tell you a lot more. So, this is usually all blue because it's a standalone signature, not connected to Earth. All right. So, this has been a great little event. You know, it's interesting to learn about and to understand, and then you realize that, wait a minute, these things are here now. We're not waiting on them. They're not lost. We've been tracking these for years. So, and not just me. I mean, other people have been looking at this longer than I have, but I feel that I have a good understanding, and wanted to share it with you all. So Have a good night, and I'll do another video.